all signs point to this. It's looking more and more likely that the 49ers are going to part ways with one of their biggest free agents this offseason. And while that is disappointing and there is a new big name free agent that the Niners can go after, I just don't think that's the right move for the team. And we're going to break that all down for you on this episode of Niners Digest. My name is Ethan Galbraith. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because we've noticed over 90% of you haven't done so. It's free to subscribe, so make sure you do so you don't miss any Niners updates because we're going to give you everything we got, including what you need to know about Jauan Jennings' future with the 49ers and a potential replacement for him, but I don't think really that's the right move for the team. So let's get right into it, which is that the Niners recently had 3 contracts voided. Spotrac reported upon this, and one of those contracts was Jauan Jennings. Now, this shouldn't really be much of a surprise. The dead cap is going to be over $14 million. We're not talking about that today. But Jauan Jennings' contract is voided. So this happened a few days ago. What does this mean? Well, it looks more and more likely that the Niners and Jauan Jennings are going to be parting ways this offseason. And that's disappointing. It's an understatement, but it's the reality of the business. Jauan Jennings' value is through the roof right now because of the season he just had, specifically the back half of the season he just had, which he played great. He had a streak of games where he was scoring touchdowns in each of them. Yes, he dealt with injuries to start the season, but he played great when the Niners needed him most. And I think that this is a huge loss for the Niners. Should it happen. The Niners obviously can still offer him a long-term contract and bring him back, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be the situation that's going to unfold. Matt Mayoko, the 49ers reporter, talked about this. He said he doesn't think it's looking likely that Jauan Jennings isn't going to return to the 49ers. And like I said, I've said this previously, he is one of the players that helps set the identity of this team. So not only is that worth a lot intangibly, it's worth a lot financially as well. So Spotrac also reported on the highest projected value of contracts for free agent wide receivers, and Jauan Jennings is right up there near the top. The farthest right column shows projected value, and Jauan Jennings could be making north of $20 million a year. Now, that's a contract the Niners could offer Jauan Jennings, but the Niners have a lot of positions that they need to retool, and offensive line is another one. I would argue that's priority one. But it's a 1A, 1B with offensive line and wide receivers. And I don't think it's going to work out. The Niners need to bring in multiple receivers. That's the reality of this situation. So you can bring some in with the draft. That is an option as well. But I just don't know if the cards are going to fall in the right position to bring back Jauan Jennings for the money that he's going to be asking for. Now, if the Niners are going to, I think the Niners should still do their due diligence and offer him a contract that is not lowballing him. It should be worth his time and their time. But I just don't know if this is going to happen. Never mind the fact that George Pickens is already off the market. The Cowboys used the franchise tag on him. So that's already one less wide receiver that's available for teams to go get. And there is a need for wide receivers this offseason. So Jauan Jennings is going to get contract offers from teams other than the 49ers. That's no secret. I just don't know if the Niners are going to be able to match that, knowing that they have other priorities that they need to meet. And you've noticed in the last 2 off seasons that the Niners have been working to get younger. Jauan Jennings is 28. That's not old at all, but he's in his prime right now. The Niners have been trying to get younger. You saw that with the mass amounts of players that they let walk in free agency last offseason, and this might be another example of that. All that's being said, there is a new free agent wide receiver that the Niners could go after, and that is Tyreek Hill. The Dolphins just released him as part of players that they released. They're going through a whole change over there. They're revamping everything. This wasn't a surprise. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. The fact that he was released this early before free agency is a little bit surprising, but the Dolphins want to get a head start on their rebuild. That makes sense. So Tyreek Hill is now available. This man needs no introduction. Everybody has seen what he's capable of on the football field, but people are also aware of his controversies off the field, his behavior off of the field. And that's one of the reasons why I don't think this is the right move for the 49ers. They just got done they're still finishing dealing with the Brandon Ayuk saga. And bringing in Tyreek Hill just doesn't make sense. Another reason, he is older than Jauan Jennings. He's 31. Now, of course, the stats speak for themselves. This is Tyreek in the past 4 seasons. He is a baller. There's no denying that. But not only is he older than Jauan Jennings, but he has been dealing with recovering from a gruesome injury this past offseason, or this past season. All of those statistics include the fact that he missed a lot of this past season, which makes the stats all the more impressive, but it's still the reality that he's rehabbing a major leg injury. And there's not even guarantee that he's going to be available for 2026. So I just think this is something the Niners should avoid entirely. Might they inquire about Tyreek Hill's availability or what he's asking for in free agency? Yeah, probably. But I just don't think this is something that the Niners should pursue. I'd rather them pursue Jauan Jennings more than Tyreek Hill. And yes, I understand that the ceiling of Tyreek Hill is a lot higher than Jauan Jennings as a receiver, but I told you that Jauan Jennings helps define the identity of the Niners, and I think that's worth a lot financially and intangibly. Tyreek Hill, though, has said that he's going to be back. There was questions about when he's coming back. As I said, questions if he will be back for 2026. He said on his Instagram, he said, quote, "So to everyone wondering what's next, just wait on it. The Cheetah will be back, born again." He's a great player. I just don't think it's something that the Niners should heavily invest in. If they want to get younger, Tyreek Hill is the opposite of that goal. At that point, invest in the draft. But if we go to the list of free agents one more time, I just want to, shameless self-promotion of what I've been talking about. If you look at that list, a little lower down the list is Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs. There is a perfect example of a player that the Niners can easily afford and go get. Might they overspend for him? Maybe. But he's younger than both Jauan Jennings and Tyreek Hill. No history of, major injuries like what Tyreek Hill is going through. So this could be a great option. The reality is this, and this is my final thought. The Niners look like they're going to part ways with Jauan Jennings, and that's not a bad thing, I don't think. Obviously, that's another player that the Niners need to replace, and Jauan Jennings will forever be in 49ers lore as one of the most clutch receivers of the 2020s. Everybody remembers the Super Bowl and 3rd and Jauan. He doesn't get that nickname for nothing. So it's going to be, if this does happen, if the dominoes fall and Jauan Jennings is out of San Francisco, then it's going to be sad. There's no denying it. But the Niners can't get caught up in other free agents like Tyreek Hill as a replacement because they now need to replace 2 big wide receivers of Brandon Ayuk and Jauan Jennings. So we'll keep you updated on what the Niners decide to do with their free agents, the wide receivers and their free agents, as well as other free agents outside of the building. Dominoes are starting to fall. The chips are starting to fall with what the Niners' options are going to be, who's still going to be on the team. But we'll continue to keep you updated on all of that, what the Niners end up doing with Jauan Jennings. But until then, that's all for this episode of Niners Digest. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ethan Galbraith, and we will see you in the next video.